do, folks? How you doing? Just a quick one. It's a weird one. It's another wonky world one, really. I was leaving home just a bit ago, and I said to the missus, because in actual fact I'm taking her away for a couple of days. I said to her that I'm going to try and find somewhere while I'm out to get the motor cleaned up a bit if there's anywhere open. And she says, "Oh, you should find somewhere because things are getting back to normal now, aren't they?" Now, although I do get where she was coming from in her sense when she said it, because obviously I just looked at her funny and she explained herself, and I got it really anyway. She meant that places are opening back up again, and she knows it's not anywhere near fucking normal. But that was just in my head as I was going through a village back there, and there was people queuing up to go into a pub, to put the fucking masks on their faces, and I'm just like, oh my fucking god, seriously, this is where we are. This is normal now. People for some reason see some logic in putting masks on to stand up and take them off when you sit down, and if they don't see the logic in this, they're complying all the same, which is bizarre. That's the fucking crazy thing. And as well as that, I mean, let's face it, the pubs, really? Somewhere you can go and just fucking blow your fucking money on shit that wasn't worth it, and it's just gonna fucking sap your money, take your time, and make them rich on the taxes. You want this so desperately. You're giving up, your folks are giving up their rights for this, and even those that think they're still clinging on to some of the rights, you're putting a fucking mask on to stand up in a place where when you sit down you can take it off, and above that you're giving them your name and your telephone numbers so they can go and tell the government that you did it, and all this so you can have the pleasure of giving them some fucking money. It's fucking bizarre to me. It's bizarre. You know, if you want to eat out so badly, really, if you fucking need to go and have somebody else cook for you, why don't you just get together with a few fucking friends and maybe have a Sunday dinner club or something, where a few of you in your little circle have somebody over each Sunday. So one Sunday out of 4 you have to cook, but you cook for everybody, and then the others they do. Do you really need to go out that badly? Do you really need to be in a pub that badly? And I get it, you want to socialise, you want to do the things that they've always used to let you do for your bread and circuses. But make your own fucking life, make your own fun. If the only thing you can do to have fun is get pissed at home with your mates, or go to your mates' houses and again go to places and get pissed with people. Whatever you do socialising where you've got to pay over the odds for an overtaxed product that you know damn well was only ever to distract you from the week of work that you're slogging your asses over, and the fact that the government are sapping every fucking penny you're having, and you're paying the taxes on that overinflated to supply them even more of your hard-earned money, and you're begging for it to such degree you'll give all sorts of rights up just to be able to walk into a pub with a fucking gag on your face and look like an absolute twat because you can take it down when you sit down. I don't know, do you put it back on when you go to the toilet? I presume you do. It's absolutely fucking bizarre, and it made me wonder just slightly, you know, back a good few months ago now, probably last year sometime, when I think it was when it first started out, and they said at one point you should put a mask on in your own home. It made me wonder how many people were sat actually in their own home with fucking masks on. I know I had family members that weren't accepting visitors, and other family members that were going standing outside the living room window, closed window, shouting at each other for a visit. Like they've made absolute plonkers of the world. But beyond that, when it comes to the point of ridiculous, where everybody knows, they do know when you talk to them, they're just complying. But it's got to such a point that they're just going to do every next stage, every next stage, whatever comes next on this entire chain of events, and people are going to comply with it because they want what they had rather than find something new. Change your fucking lives. Your lives are about to change beyond all recognition anyway. Just because you're trying to cling on to what you had, you need to get that. So as they're going to force change your lives, because whatever they're allowing to drip feed you now for your compliance, you will get removed eventually anyway. It is all going to get taken away. You're just complying for the fuck's sake, just to have drip fed back into this carrot that's being dangled in front of you. Absolute fucking bizarre. I see compliance everywhere, and I see it in not only friends, family, and others around me. I see it in truthers, in the deep truthers, the ones that are supposedly trusted to their word on the internet. And I see that they don't make it obvious, but when you look and read between the lines, absolutely they're complying, because they keep showing you that they're doing the things that you can't do unless you're complying, which is pretty fucking obvious really. Holidays and all sorts of things are going on. Really bizarre from truthers who are travelling abroad and shouting to you, don't do this and don't do that, and then they're going, you know damn well they must have done it. So, and it don't matter to me either. I don't judge and I don't care, and I don't need anybody to explain themselves to me at all. I don't need an explanation. People feel the need to explain themselves to me. I'm not that guy. You don't need to explain yourselves to me. I don't care. I'm me, and I do what I do. I try and tell the world, try and tell anybody who will listen. But if you won't listen, I'm way beyond that point where I'm going to grab hold of you and have you drag me down. Way beyond that, years past it. That's the early days of truthing, when you just got to try and so desperately fucking cling on to somebody, wake them up, you need them to know. That's not me anymore. I've learned the hard way that they'll drain your fucking life. So all you can do is do what you can, put the word out there. But it is really bizarre, the compliance I'm seeing, and the deceit in the compliance when folks are making out that they're not complying and telling you not to comply when they are. That's just absolutely fucking out of order. If they're going to comply, they should shut the fucking mouths, in my opinion. But hey, it is what it is. What can you say? People are like that. It's quite bizarre. But anyway, yes, we've got a lot going on. Somebody actually mentioned on one of the comments to the last video to speak a little bit about this NHS data theft that's about to happen. And it is going to happen, and in all honesty it's just part of the agenda, because what happens from this is all the corporations can then get all your medical industry and all your medical history, and now they can tighten up all on your life. Imagine what the insurance companies are going to do with that when they're reading through your medical history. Oh Lord, this one's a risk here. No, and then they send you a letter saying you're not adequately covered. Or your insurance is no longer valid until you pay this extra money. And this is where it's going, and to push you out, and probably to say to some that you can't get insured at all, and then they'll open some other insurance companies up that'll take anybody at a fucking astronomical fee. There's loads of games, but insurance is the very small end of it, because we're coming into a world that really we don't recognise, and we don't know what sort of things are coming out and what they're going to be able to do perpetually moving forward with that data that they've got permission to use at all times. So yeah, when you've got pharmaceutical companies coming to you, just forcing eventually this drug's got to be taken by you, because we can see that this is wrong, and that's your medical industry. Your medical history tells us that this, or maybe you said something to a doctor and now it's on file, and now they can come and take you away because of that. Who knows? Be careful out there, folks. But the date that's going around, I believe the date that's going around is outdated. This June or July, I think it was June date, was it? That's gone. It's not that now. It's 20th of September. It got extended. I don't know why. There'll be some fuckery behind it that's not anything like what we understand or what they'll tell us. But for some reason, They extended it till September, probably so they can stand in honour, because they can say afterwards, we didn't only give them warning, we even extended it further. So if anybody left it there, it was purely by consent. So yeah, I would say everybody needs to get that dealt with. Your choice is how you're going to deal with it. Now, if you're going through life signing everything with your normal legal fiction signature, then I would just fill in one of the forms that are going around the internet telling them not to share your data. Simple as that. But I believe it's quite incomplete, because they want to hold on to some rights to share it in certain circumstances. Well, to me that's unacceptable, and I wouldn't fill one of their forms in any way. Personally, I'll be writing an affidavit of truth, and I'll serve a notice, I should imagine, on them first, and then demand that they acknowledge that all of my rights have been upheld and everything within it has been adhered to. And if they don't, then I'll opportunity to cure them, and I'll take them to default and put a claim on them for that fact that they haven't responded. There'll be a data subject access request in there as have you received it, have you filed it, etc, etc. Have all parties been made aware, that sort of thing. And then there's a DSAR to follow up on. If they don't respond or they want to play games, then you just go for judgment on that, don't you? You get them in default and go for judgment on the notices. So that will be how I will deal with that at some point, I suppose soon. It's not something I'm going to acquiesce to much longer, and the wife's been told not to let me go beyond another week with it, so I've just had so much on. But as soon as that point comes, I'll sit down and put something onto paper, I'm sure. And knowing me, I'll probably make some version of a template or something and stick it up in Wonky World, who knows. But don't just depend on me. You've got a whole world of shit out there that you do need to learn some shit for. So don't be afraid to get your head in some stuff and get some practice in. Something like this is actually perfect to practice on, because they don't have any clout and they don't have any rights, and they can't fight you with it anyway. So it's a perfect little one to cut your teeth on, writing your own notice. Yeah, have a go. You can't really get it wrong, as long as you're denying them any consent to share any of your data under these new NHS guidelines that are coming out, or whatever it's named. I don't even pay that much attention to know what it's named, to be honest. Whether it's an act of parliament or whether it's just a rule they bring out. I don't follow the politics. I just know when something important's happening, I will hear about it, and when I hear about it, I will deal with it. But yeah, I hear about too much. I can't be arsed following politics. It's of no interest to my life. It doesn't affect anything I do. The only time I need to know anything is when certain key officials will step down, although everything I've done and everything I do is officer incumbent anyway, so it perpetually moves on to the next one in the position. But I would welcome them to the position in my glorious fashion, as I did with Cassiana Suella Braverman, or Sue Ellen Braverman, should I say. Suella, as you'll know her as. But yeah, when they come into the new positions of the ones that are important to you, you will welcome them. But other than that, just with this, it's just simple to your doctors. Don't share it. You could also send it on to the health minister or CC Twat Hancock if you want to. I don't think I'll bother, but you never you never know. My ACDC there, my OCD of serving notices and affidavits, it could easily happen. But if it does, I'll probably stick that in Wonky World as well, so who knows. But don't hound me on this, because this is so easy to do, and I say that with all the love, because I always say these sort of things. Don't come running bothering me with these sort of things, and it's only preempting something that will inevitably happen. And you imagine if even fucking 20 people start sending me things, is this okay? But it don't stop there. It just keeps coming, and the video stays up, and people keep sending things, and it's just impossible. It's impossible. So that's why I always say that shit. And besides that, you need to learn this shit. And like I say, this one is a really, really good one to cut your teeth on. It's plain and simple. Cease and desist, and not begin to in sharing any of my private data. and then blah, blah, you have no consent whatsoever, blah 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 blah. You do it. I'm not dictating something, so don't just take my words. Think, use your own, or take some of them. I don't care. It don't matter. I'm not copywriting my words. It's just that you should take snippets from people and add your bits in, and that way, bit by bit, your notices grow, and you'll take snippets from others, and them snippets become yours, and bit by bit, your notices build your own character. But the weight can come from others' knowledge and information, as long as you've done your own due diligence and you've checked that it's right. Because if you don't, you just imagine. Well, let me tell you, it's plain and simple what happens. Think of free man on the land, right? And some people still think that what I do is free man on the land in some deluded way. I don't understand why. But right back at the start of me realising there was this thing going on with the law, freeman and the land was the thing that was there. So I obviously looked into that and got loads of knowledge and information from it, because all the knowledge was there. There was just absolute shows, and there was teaching you to go the wrong way. And they put all this valuable information out because they know it's there anyway. So if you start searching for it, it's going to be found. So they can control what they put out there and keep you excited and busy about certain things that they have got ready for and that they can handle, and they can handle you. So this freeman on the land, it all kicked off, and everybody loved it, and everybody followed it, and everybody did everything that they said and put all the notices out that they created, and everybody was failing. You get where I'm going here? Don't just follow a template. Do your own due diligence, and don't just find out that the information's right. Understand what you're writing. Absolutely, read it, and if you don't know what it is you write, what it is I say writing, what you're sending, read it again. Ask some questions about it. Find some answers about it, and find out and know exactly the mechanics of what it's doing and why it's doing it. And that way you're building your knowledge as well as sending a notice off, and now you know next time how to deal with it, why you need to deal with it, rather than just leave things. This acquiescence that I talk about all the time, the reason I go for them, this is bouncing again, isn't it? The reason I go for acquiescence, always I create acquiescence in almost everything I do. I want acquiescence, and I will create acquiescence out of it. Because they will have to fold and expose their own fraud if they won't acquiesce, and I want them to expose their fraud one way or the other. They won't say it, so it'll be acquiescence, thank you. But the reason I do that is because I figured out that's how they get us all the time, every time. They get a tacit agreement with everything. They get in contracts with full assent from you. These are assumed and presumed contracts, but they're enforced because you're acquiescence. And this is how and why I realised. And even if you're answering, you're acquiescing to your rights. And this is the point. They've got this perfect system where unless you know, excuse me, unless you know, you haven't got a chance. Once you do know, you've got a choice there, whether you sit there flailing about shouting I don't consent, or whether you put this into it and start learning some shit. Now if you're going to learn some shit, you're not acquiescing, are you? But if you're sitting there just waiting for a template or waiting for somebody else to tell you how to do something, you're absolutely acquiescing, and that's why they've got you. But that's why we've got them when we turn on them. So learn. And I know I keep saying it, you might be getting bored with it, and I don't care. I'll say it till you do. It is what it is. I went for years and years and years in this game truly believing that it was too much to do, and I truly believed that these people that knew this should have me in awe of them, and I realised most of them were full of shit. It took me learning this to realise most of them was full of shit. Most of them was winging it. Most of them have learned how to fancifully talk to you, and they'd watched a few videos and they're just parroting what they've heard elsewhere. There are a few, and I'm not going to say there are none, but there are a few that absolutely do this shit. Some that have lost the plot a bit and gone too far with some things, they still know this shit. Some that just quietly mind their own business and don't go on YouTube and know this shit. Big shout out to you guys. The quiet ones that just do it and don't talk. I know a few of them. I don't have time to interact with all of them. I would like to, because knowledge shared is fantastic, but unfortunately I just don't have the time. But there are an awful lot out there that don't have a fucking clue. They think they do, they talk like they do, but they don't. So just beware, folks. It's always your due diligence. It's always your due diligence. And it's another one people might be bored of me saying, but I'll always say it, and it's not because I can't be asked, because anybody that knows me knows I don't bloody stop. Ever. I'm lucky to have, I think it was 4 hours sleep last night, 4 hours the night before, and everything in between is busy. But the reality is, I don't have time for everything else, but it isn't why I'm telling people to do their own due diligence. Throughout this journey of mine, where I thought I could help everybody and thought I could save the world, somewhere over, and it's only over the recent history, I would say the last 18 months or so, I really realised the importance that folks really need to know their shit. And the reason I realised this importance is because the system stepped up its game. With this shit that's going on now, wasn't just come and take a jab scheme. It was the law stepped up as well. These legislations that folks will keep tripping over, they ramped them all up. The enforcements they ramped up, the debt collections they've ramped up, they've ramped it all up, they've stepped everything up, and they're ignoring a hell of a lot that they don't have the right to ignore. So I realised everybody really needed to know this shit now, because just sending a template off, they're going to try their damnedest to barrel straight over it. Now, if you're not on the game, on the ball at the top of your game, you're going to fall off the ball, aren't you? Especially if you just sent somebody's template off and thinking, oh, that'll do. His stuff works. But it only does if you can follow it through. And if you can't, who's following it through for you? So don't start something you can't finish. Understand what it is you're doing. Understand the process. You serve something, you give an opportunity to cure, you default them, you affidavit of truth. There's yours, that's your judgment. You can take it to court and get your judgment first, or you can just sit with it like that. It's entirely up to you, or not bother at all. Just throw the tickets or the summonses down and leave it till 2 days before and ask somebody else how you can deal with it. You can't even imagine the amount of folks that do it. And I'm not knocking it either, because I do get that mindset. I do. I remember back in Torden days, before I knew anything at all, literally anything at all, I would have never have dealt with anything. I would never have looked at anything. The fact is, I didn't get shit because I wasn't in the system. I didn't really play with the system. But I suppose with the motors I did, odd speeding tickets and such like, and I don't think I'd ever respond to them, so it'd all go through and there'd be a point on there somewhere down the line. But just like everybody else, but acquiescence. I learned different. So don't think I'm calling you a cunt for acquiescing. I'm just saying you need to get your head straight. Because we've all done it, and well, I say all done it, some folks will go, oh, I've never done it. But hey, good on you if you haven't. But if you have, just learn not to. Everything has to be dealt with at the first instance without leaving any time in between at all. That's how you deal with shit. That's what doing your own due diligence is. Immediately dealing with it. So and if something's on the way now and you've got something about to bite you in the ass, don't waste too much time looking for somebody to save your fucking ass. Start learning, because that's the most important thing. Because you know something, if you get bit this time by something, you're probably talking a speeding fine or something like that, where you're going to get a few quid fine. Well, that's going to be a better lesson to learn, to get your ass into learning this shit, so you don't happen again. Not that I'm saying that's what it should happen. It's a treasonous world and it's all set wrong. But the reality is, I have to find a balance between what I can tell you and what I can do. And if I leave you with too many questions, I have too much to answer, and I don't have time to do that. So Again, I just try and fill you with what I can. So take me or leave me. I'm sorry. I do my best. I really do in this wonky world. But again, like I always say, I'm just trying to get your head straight. I'm not here saying this is how you do that and that's how you do this. I'm getting you to realise what's going on and the fact that there is something going on, and hopefully pointing you to the fact that there is remedy, there is huge remedy. And talking on huge remedy, there's something coming up shortly. I alluded to it a while ago that there's something going on in the background, and there is something going on in the background very shortly. As some folks will already know, and some folks will have heard elsewhere, there is something coming between me and a couple of other very good fellas, and we're creating a place for remedy. I am hoping within a couple of weeks or so we'll have something to show for it, and we can start telling you a little bit more. But our intentions initially, we'll put up there what we can quickly get in there, or what we've managed to get together, and what we can get up there for the remedies available. But as an ongoing thing, you've got as far as I can see, some of the best minds in the game coming together to create ongoing and future remedies. So just watch that space, because that is going to be very current and on top of the game at all times from the way it's forming. And like I say, there's some of the best minds involved, and it's going to be, in my opinion, the best place for remedy on the entire internet. But I would say that, wouldn't I? But we'll let you guys decide. You can come and call us a cunt if you want, because I'm not going to care, because we're still going to be giving shit hot remedies, so you like it or not. We won't be suffering any fools. None of us that are involved suffer fools, and I think folks know my stance on that anyway. So we won't be having any fools. We won't be having any jealousy or problems with assholes, because we're just not entertaining the shit. All we care about is putting real remedies out there and cutting new paths, because some of the shit we've been doing for quite a while are cutting and forming new paths that you just could not comprehend. Obviously some folks already know some of the shit we're up to, but I guarantee nobody outside of a very short little circle know what we've been up to at the top end. And yeah, maybe coming to a place near you soon. So keep your eyes on it, folks, and other than that, have yourselves a damn fine day. I'm going to have a couple of days, so please nobody even send me any emails between Monday and Wednesday. Well, it's Thursday because I'm coming back Wednesday. There is no point whatsoever, and I don't want to come back to 300-400 emails to have to go through, because they'll still keep coming from the people that have waited. So do me a favour, please. And some of you think when it comes to Wednesday or Thursday, like, I might leave it till Friday or Saturday because they'll have had a shitload. But hey, I'm there anyway. If you need me, get in touch when I get back. But I am having 3 days, because basically I so need it, and my wife so needs it, and she deserves it so much. So look after yourself, folks, and have a good one. See you all later. Ta-da.